So people often ask me, is there a simple way to make 50k to 100k gold per hour? And this video is as close to that as you're ever going to get without using exploits or something like boosting or group farming. This is a very simple, straightforward approach, but it works. Basically, we're going to combine a bunch of overlapping quests, some poor scaling, and an optimized approach. So let's observe how some of the meta quests in WoW overlap. You can make gold while you're earning gold to get gold on top of your gold. You will need a decent number of alts to make this work. So we go to the main quest hub in Dornagal, and what we are looking for is any kind of quest based on delves. The exact requirements change depending what quests are active in a given week, but almost all of them can be completed at the same time. The first quest I'm taking here is from Ferrin, the meta quest, Call of the World Soul. It has an option to simply run one delve. This just happened to be up when I filmed this. It may well be not an option when you try it. The next two world quests, however, should be up for any new level 70 or higher the first time you try this. Go to High Speaker Brinth and take the quest named Archives the First Disc. The first time you do this, there's some roleplay you have to go through, make sure you complete it. This is all you have to do to make sure the quest activates properly, but make sure you do it or you won't get the quest reward. Now nip over here to Bran Bronzebeard and take his quest to complete 3 delves. Now, somewhat incredibly, all of these things overlap. Every time you run a super easy tier 1 delve, you are completing all of these quests at the same time for a huge amount of rewards that is absolutely unprecedented in Warcraft. In addition, you have the potential to pick up BOE items, small amounts of gold and items from the delve, and then potentially additional resonance crystals and gold, etc. from the end of the delve itself. There's a 280 gold reward for running each delve the first time. Make sure you watch to the end of this video to learn all the tricks to turn every bit of currency you receive into gold. You could miss out on a ton of gold if you don't. The main source of raw gold is from turning in the world quests. This is an absolute minimum of 1600 raw gold per cache. But it varies considerably, and it can go up to an unbelievable 10x the original amount. As I'm showing here, that's 16,000 gold. If you've done these before, you may have missed this altogether and wondered why you had more gold than you thought. That's why. Incredibly, because all the quest objectives stack, you can basically do all this in 3 delves. So from raw gold alone, you're getting at least 5,000 gold. But on average, it's going to be closer to double that at the very minimum. And that's far from everything you get here. You get around an additional 500 to 1,000 gold from running the delves themselves, from raw gold, from mobs and various things that drop inside the delves. There's a chance, for example, of a nice raw gold item at the end. A fantastic extra source of gold is the weekly vault. Delves qualify towards the weekly Great Vault reward, and this can be turned easily into raw gold. Reject the gear options and choose instead the Algari Token of Merit option. 2 of these can be turned into Ardghaz right next to the main vault for a chest of gold which contains 1000 gold. You effectively get an extra 500 raw gold per delve from the vault. Note that there is a potential trade-off here between gear progression and raw gold. That said, it's not normally possible to get this type of raw gold return from almost anything else in WoW. You get a massive load of resonance crystals. Now there's various things you can do with them to make gold, and I'm sure people will have some suggestions as to how to convert these into gold, because this video is targeted at people who want a simple life. I'm just going to recommend that you go here and buy this item and then just vendor it. It's worth 44 gold each. You could disenchant it or do tons of other things with the resonance crystals. And there's 100 guides on YouTube about that, but this is the dumb, easy solution. Now, you also get a lump of KG from the caches. That's a bit more complicated to monetize than the other stuff. You can buy consumable cooking-based items from this vendor. These items are available on the Cross-Realm auction house, meaning everyone in your region can buy them, so they sell pretty fast. Now, whether this is a significant contribution depends on whether you have any rep with the severed threads, as the vendor price of these items reduces significantly with rep. If you've ground up a decent amount of rep, the value of these items is roughly 1 kedge for 1 gold. With 450 kedge from each pinnacle cache, you are looking at quite a lot of extra gold from that, so it's worth doing. Note that with resonance crystals and kedge, you don't have to do this on each ult. Just send it to your main and monetize the whole lot of it every now and again. If one of the delves you run is a Bountiful delve, it counts the same as any other, and you get a special weekly reward in addition to all the other rewards you've already got. This one is warband specific, so you can only run it on one character, but it is still well worth doing for that. The reward that drops from the end of the delve is a quest item, which can be turned in at Donegal in the main delve area. You get an absolute ton of undercoins for doing this, a currency which can be turned in for a delver's pouch of reagents. While not technically raw gold, you shouldn't have any trouble selling this fast on the auction house. Again, these are cross-realm items, so everyone on your region, not just your realm, can buy them. Usually I make another 1,000 gold from this very easily, though your mileage will vary based on the current auction house prices. So which delves are best to run? That rather depends, because the delves change all the time, and each version of a delve is a completely separate instance for most practical purposes. I noticed everyone seemed to have a different opinion on this, but the names that kept appearing most were Fungal Folly, Takrathan Abyss, the Spiral Weave, and Side Street Sluice. Your hourly returns from doing all this are quite surprising. For such a basic method, you are looking at 10 to 15k gold from the raw gold for literally 10 minutes work. There will be a lot of variation around that number. Some of you will get less, but it will converge on the average over time. It is actually possible to make 100k an hour doing this without any special tricks. The major and only real downside of this approach is that you will eventually run out of ults. If you don't have ults, then, well, get some. It's really easy to grind characters up to 70. There's multiple ways on my Patreon to grind up an ult army in as little as an hour played on each toon. In fact, you can even do it completely AFK using an auto clicker or a mouse recorder. Now, I say 10 minutes to run 3 delves. Most people should be able to run 3 tier 1 delves in that time. Some people can do it much faster. There are lots of people who have shown themselves speedrunning through tier 1 delves in 2 minutes or even less. And now, here's some hamsters blowing up a robot camel.